We have some breaking news late on a Saturday night. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and the Philadelphia Eagles have their new offensive coordinator as the Birds have hired Kellen Moore to take over for Brian Johnson. What type of offense is Kellen Moore going to bring to Philadelphia? How will it fit Jalen Hurts and the weapons on this Eagles offense? And my thoughts all coming up. But first, this is why you subscribe. It's late on a Saturday night. This news breaking around 11 o'clock Eastern time, but that doesn't stop us. Anytime there's big news on the Eagles front, we cover it, we dissect it. All of our coverage here, entertaining, informative, and insightful. So lock us in, hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching late on a Saturday night, I want you to type real one, as no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, at a bar, at the crib, we appreciate you for making our show a part of your night. So Howard Eskin of 94 WIP breaking the news, a rare breaking news story from him, as he used to be the godfather of Philadelphia sports radio back in the day, Eagles sideline reporter for WIP. He had the scoop here from somebody close inside the Eagles organization, and he tweeted this out a few minutes ago that after Kellen Moore spoke with the Eagles on Friday, it appears the team is close to making him the team's new offensive coordinator. And then Albert Breer, Adam Schefter confirming the news on the national front. This tweet from Breer that Kellen Moore has been offered and accepted the Eagles offensive coordinator job per source. Moore's status had been up in the air while the search for a new coach went on for the Los Angeles Chargers. As we know, the Chargers hiring Jim Harbaugh. He's going to have to find a new OC. Kellen Moore, I didn't think was going to be the option there because Harbaugh's going to bring in one of his own guys. And now Kellen Moore's next coaching stop, the city of brotherly love. And with that done, he was freed up to leave, and he found a home very, very quickly. To our knowledge, and we've talked about this here on the show, the Eagles had interviewed 3 candidates for their offensive coordinator job. Cliff Kingsbury, former Cardinals and Texas Tech head coach, USC quarterbacks coach last year. They interviewed Gerard Johnson, the Texans quarterbacks coach, who was credited with doing great work with C.J. Stroud in his rookie campaign as he led the NFL in touchdown-to-interception ratio, and then Kellen Moore. So he interviews on Friday. The meeting must have gone well with Nick Sirriani, Howie Roseman. I imagine Jeffrey Lurie in the building, or at least having a little bit of a say, as he always has a say in some of these coaching hirings, or at the very least, he's able to steer the coaches in a good direction. It's a very collaborative approach for Philadelphia, and then Moore officially hired on Saturday. As for his path in his football life, he played quarterback at Boise State, was very good there, and then he was a backup for a little while in the National Football League, played with the Detroit Lions from 2012 to 2014, and then with the Dallas Cowboys from 2015 to 2017. He got into coaching right away. So right after his playing career was over with Dallas, he remained with that organization. And I know it's the Dallas Cowboys. We like to make fun of them all the time. How about them Cowboys? No NFC Championship game appearances in nearly 30 years, but he did some really good things with the Cowboys. Quarterbacks coach in 2018, and then right away, he becomes the team's offensive coordinator in 2019, all the way through to 2022, and he was a valued member of that organization who, at one moment, I thought maybe was going to be able to land a head coaching job with the Cowboys, taking over for Jason Garrett instead of Mike McCarthy. Then Mike McCarthy makes a switch after last year, and he decides to take over offensive control, and he becomes the offensive play caller for Dallas. So Moore leaves. He goes to the Los Angeles Chargers under Brandon Staley to team up with Justin Herbert, and he was there for a single season. He has had head coaching interviews. He is a valued and respected offensive mind. As Nick Sirianni said, as we were live on Eagles Now for his end-of-the-season press conference, he wanted somebody to bring in fresh ideas, new perspectives, new concepts, more of a modern offense. Eagles fans have been wanting that, clamoring for it, me as well, and he wanted this new offensive coordinator to really run the offense, and that's what Moore is going to be able to do, and why I don't love the hire and the offense. I do like the idea of the experience that he brings to the table because he's had a ton of experience in calling plays. What is he going to bring to this Eagles offense? Getting to that here in just a moment, but first, want to hear from you down in the comment section. I know that all of you know ball, so what do you think about this hiring of Kellen Moore? Type L for like, D for dislike. This will be the pinned comment, so make sure you get those thoughts into the comment section right now. The offense that he brings, it is considered to be a modern offense, and it features a lot of pre-snap motion. The Eagles last year under Nick Sirriani, Brian Johnson, 32nd in pre-snap motion. It was a crime. He does run and have a lot of vertical route concepts in his offense. I imagine Nick Sirianni really likes that because the last 2 years they've done a lot of airing it out to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Some concerns here is that the offense has tailed off a little bit the last 2 years. That is a little bit concerning. And the Cowboys offense this year, I thought got a little bit better with Mike McCarthy, and Dak Prescott was an all-pro and is in the final 5 to be named NFL MVP. And then the Los Angeles Chargers got a little bit worse statistically, going from Joe Lombardi to Kellen Moore. And Kellen Moore had Justin Herbert and a lot of really good weapons at wide receiver, at tight end, at running back on that Chargers offense, but that team up and down was kind of a disaster under Brandon Staley. So while I don't love it, G.J. Kinney would have been a candidate who I really, really liked in the process before the Eagles even fired Brian Johnson, Texas State head coach, massive numbers there, creative, innovative, modern-day offensive mind. He was at Incarnate Word before Texas State. He was on the Eagles practice squad, some familiarity there. The Eagles instead opting with play calling experience. I would have given Eric Bieniemy an interview. I would have seen what he could have brought to the table. I think that Jalen Hurts can use a little bit of a motivator, somebody who's not afraid to criticize him. And I'm not sure that Kellen Moore is going to be that kind of a soft-spoken guy who does think about offense in a creative way, but I think Jalen Hurts needs a little bit of motivation because he's always so cool, calm, and collected, and Brian Johnson never really had that or brought that to the table because he's known Jalen Hurts since he was 4. And the other thing that I like now in the offseason cycle for the coaching staff for Philadelphia, and they obviously got to work very quickly. Nick Sirianni, it was confirmed that he was coming back early the week, and now, by Saturday, he has his DC and he has his OC. I do like that Philadelphia going into 2024 has a veteran defensive play caller in Vic Fangio and then a veteran offensive play caller in Kellen Moore. Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore, across many league circles, are very, very respected offensive and defensive minds. And for them to come to Philadelphia, I actually think it's a pretty good haul for Nick Sirianni here. Let's take a look at how Moore's offenses have fared. And when you think about the offense here, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, they get vertical. Dallas, Chargers, they utilize the tight end. You have Dallas Goedert on this team. With Kellen Moore, he was running some RPO at Dak Prescott. You can do that with Jalen Hurts. Doesn't really go away from the running game all that much. He had Ezekiel Elliott. He had Austin Eckler, had success there. Eagles, obviously, I think need to get back to the backbone, the bread and butter of what their offense can be. That's relying on this stout, great, very, very talented offensive line, and we'll see what happens with Jason Kelce. Moore coordinated a Dallas offense that was the NFL's best in 2021, not long ago. Led the league in total offense, 407 net yards per game, as well as scoring offense, 31.2 points per game. During his first year as offensive coordinator in 2019, Dallas led the league with 431.5 total net yards per game. That was the 10th best single-season performance in NFL history and the best by any offense since Denver's 2013 record-setting unit, 457 yards back in that 2013 season when Peyton Manning was playing. In 4 seasons as offensive coordinator, Moore's unit ranked number 2 in the NFL with Dallas in total offense and scoring, 27.7 points per game. The Dallas offense also the NFL's 4th best passing offense, about 265 net yards per game, and ranked 7th in the league in rushing offense. So running it, throwing it. That's what Philadelphia has to do, getting back to kind of that 50-50 split. I thought that Brian Johnson was way too pass happy at times. Sometimes that's what happens when you give a quarterback $255 million. Moore also helped the Cowboys secure a couple of NFC East titles. They made 3 playoff appearances in his 5 seasons as an assistant, and he coached 8 players who earned a combined 12 Pro Bowl selections as offensive coordinator, and Dak Prescott obviously able to have a couple of really, really good seasons. He did get injured, I believe, when Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator. And then you look at how the Los Angeles Chargers offense was this year. Again, a little bit of a dip in production. They were 21st in points per game, 18th in yards per game, 23rd in points per play, 21st in yards per play, third down conversion percentage, 16th, red zone scoring percentage, 14th, so kind of middle of the pack. They could not run the ball all that much in Los Angeles. They were 27th in yards per rush, 23rd in rushes per game, and 24th in rush yards per game. But pass play percentage, they went 61%. Obviously, you have Justin Herbert. That's a big reason for that. But completion percentage, 15th. And I thought that Herbert kind of declined as well. Is that because of Kellen Moore? We'll certainly find out. He has to elevate Jalen Hurts. They threw it the 4th most times per game, 37. But pass yards per game was 14th. Interception thrown percentage, Justin Herbert threw a lot of picks. They were number 2 there. And then quarterback sack percentage, number 13. So, you certainly see the good that Kellen Moore brings to the table. You see some of the concerning trends as well. Again, I think the positive here, you have a veteran, very well-respected defensive mind in Vic Fangio, and then you have a longtime play caller in Kellen Moore who helped orchestrate some of the NFL's best offenses when he was with the Dallas Cowboys, not the case with the Los Angeles Chargers. So Kellen Moore to Philadelphia, taking over for Brian Johnson. This coaching staff overhaul continues for Philadelphia. We're going to continue to cover it every step of the way, and that's why you subscribe right now to Eagles Now, because even if it's late on a Saturday night, we're still cooking up some great content and analysis right here on the show.